Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Excited to be here. I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to True North. I'm excited to be back. I was on vacation last week. I did try to do some episodes last week on vacation. I think Monday and Tuesday. The Wi-Fi, I recognize, since this is a test case for my traveling podcast, that the Wi-Fi needs to be stellar for me to actually do a live. So I did record Monday and Tuesday. Monday was an amazing episode. I can't wait to share it. I was only able to record it, but I will share it today at some point. But I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about what today's subject is about. It is about identifying and maintaining our core values, who we are at the core, stripping down everything to the core. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because over the past week, I did a lot of introspection. And being on vacation was really eye-opening for me in terms of really thinking about who I am, what I want in my life, who I want in my life, what's important to me, and how I see myself in my future. One of the things I talked about last Monday, and I will share it on my YouTube channel this week. Last Monday, the episode I did was on personal growth, personal and professional growth. And one of the things I talked about was this tactical strategy that I welcome all of you to implement, to use. So last week I was on vacation in Mexico, in Nuevo Vallarta, and a year ago, around this time, I went to the same resort, sat in the same places, not every day, but similar places, looked at the same ocean, the same beach, sat at the same restaurants, had the same margarita. And last week, I recognized something very important about my personal and professional growth. Let's talk personal growth. And so I went into more depth about my growth for last Monday's episode, so I hope that you listen to it. But it relates to what I want to talk about today. So the strategy was, and I didn't even do that. No one told me to do this. This just kind of happened. I went with my intuition, my gut is. And so I want to be able to offer you this gift. It's a great gift. The gift is this. I highly advise you, everyone, whether you're married, whether you're not married, it doesn't matter who you are. It could be a staycation, it could be a vacation, but everyone should go on a trip alone. A lot of us don't. I never did. And not a work trip. Not a trip that you're going to stay busy. There's going to be a lot of distractions. Like you have meetings set up. That's not the kind of trip I'm talking about. I'm talking about a trip with no plan, or like the plan is just you're going to hang out with yourself. Maybe you'll go fly fishing alone. Maybe you're going to sit on the beach. Maybe you're going to go whale watching, whatever it is, but alone. And trust me on this. No one told me to do this. I just did it myself. So I went last year to the same resort. Sat in the same chair, had the same margarita, looked at the same ocean, and I want to tell you what was so eye-opening. I was able to feel this past week how far I've come in a personal development, and I talked about this on last Monday's episode. My nervous system was so calm. My emotional state was grounded. My thoughts were solid. And how I felt about myself was confident. A year ago, I was uneasy. I was reactive. I was worried. I cried a lot. I mean, I cried on this trip too. But I was a lot more unstable in terms of who I was or what I was going through. So the year, going back to the same place, you can go in a different place, but I'm saying going back to the same place actually is more powerful because you remember sitting in that chair and what you were thinking about in that chair a year ago. And you're almost like in shock based on how far you've come in 1 year in terms of your personal development, personal growth. And so it was so delightful for me. I was so happy and proud of how far I've come in 1 year because it was such a shock to see. Because when you don't do that, you almost go through life on autopilot and you don't really recognize your progress. And so for me, it was highly valuable to go to the same places, sit in the same place, go to the same place, sit in the same, go to the same restaurants, and really be like, wow, I've come a long way. It just makes you so much more confident. And this relates to what I want to talk about today. So part of what I was thinking about this past week was about my core, who I am at my core. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, I take it as a gift, many of us need to be stripped down. So think about this. Put yourself in this position. If all your riches were taken away from you, all your money, your big house, your cars, your jewelry, all the material wealth taken away from you, God forbid your kids are taken away from you. God forbid your family is taken away from you. God forbid your health is taken away from you. If you were stripped down to nothing at the end of the day, who are you at your core? If you were stripped down to nothing, your material wealth taken away, your health taken away, your family taken away, God forbid, who are you at your core? This is what I was thinking about this past week. I really had a chance to really identify who I am, what I want in my life, who I want in my life, the environment that I want for myself and for my kids. And it also allowed me to really appreciate all the blessings in my life, even the minute, small, tiny blessings that I perhaps took for granted for years. And so this is what I'm saying is I think many of us, unfortunately, we live our lives striving for more material things, more money, more wealth, more power. And it's good to have goals. It's good we want to be able to provide. We want to have a life. But I think we get so consumed with this that we forget who we are at our core. And unfortunately, sometimes, including myself, many of us need to be stripped down to nothing to be able to appreciate some of the simple things in life. Our health, our kids, any blessing that comes in. And so today's segment episode is about identifying who we are at our core, our character, our core values, our morals, our values, and maintaining those throughout our life, especially when material things and blessings start coming in. So a lot of us can go through the storm, like I did and like many of us have done, where we're stripped down to nothing. Wealth is taken away from us. Friends leave us, partners leave us. We just really are, it almost feels like an abandonment. And we've had to really dig deep to figure out who we are at our core and what's important to us. And I take this not as a detrimental thing. I take this as a lesson. I'm blessed to have gone through this so I can really appreciate the blessings in my life, the people in my life, the things that happen in my life. I take it as a lesson. So the big thing is we can experience this and it's great. But what happens sometimes is as the blessings roll, so we get to this place of humility. I think it takes a lot of humility to get to this place. And then we get to this place of appreciation. And then when things start rolling in for us, money starts coming, fame starts coming, fortune starts coming. How do we not get caught up in all that materialism again and our ego leading the way? How do we maintain that humility and not let ego be our driving force? How do we make sure that we are grateful for all the tiny little things as well as the big things that come into our life? That's what I want to talk about today. So, because all that material things, all those blessings can be stripped away from us yet again. And I quite honestly, I do believe when we get caught up in our ego and the fame and fortune and the accolades and everything, we get only focused on that and we lose sight of what's really important in our life. All that stuff's going to be taken away from us. And this is what my grandmother said. This is what my grandmother said. My grandmother said this. What was her quote? At the end of the day, I hate talking about death. Knock on wood. At the end of the day, you cannot take your Lamborghini, your Nantucket house, your diamonds, your Louis Vuitton shoes to your grave. You can't take that stuff to your grave. And I hate, no one likes talking about death. I don't like talking about death, but at the end of the day, what are you leaving behind and what are you taking with you? I'm going to start crying. Here's the thing, guys. You leave behind memories. You leave behind experiences that people had with you. You are leaving behind your legacy. Okay, I want to leave behind sticky things to help women. Like I want to have policy change for women. I mean, that's the material world. Like, but that's what my purpose is. But I'm going to say this again. I'm not saying material things aren't fun. And quite honestly, like I want a lot of material things, but I want to share it with as many people as possible. I'm a sharer. I'm not a hoarder. Although I do hoard bikinis. But bottom line is what you leave. Think about the people in your past who have died. What have they left you? They've left you with memories, really good memories. So I want to create more memories with people. I want to be able to share my life. And that's what this week was really about. Like, who do I want in my life? Who do I want to create memories with? Where do I see myself spending my time? What's my future look like? So, and again, I want material things, but I want to, it's when you die, you're leaving memories that you created with people. You're leaving, they're going to be thinking fondly of you. They're going to be like, she was so beautiful. She inside and out. She gives so much of herself to people. She loves so deeply and so passionately, and she cares so much. Like that's me. That's me in a nutshell. And that's what I want to leave behind. And then what do you take? You take the memories with you. You take these amazing experiences that we're lucky to have with us. And, you don't want to have bad experiences. You don't want to have superficial experiences. I know I don't want to. And that's what this trip really helped me is figuring out what environments do I want to be in? What environments fill my soul? What environment? And when I say environments, and this is really important, it's who you align with. Who do you want? Who do you let into your inner circle? The type of people, because they're going to invite you to things, and then you're going to be in these environments. And how are the people in those environments? Are they like you? Are they just as good? Are they just as kind? Are they just as thoughtful? Do you see yourself wanting to spend time in those environments? Their communities, their environments. And so you really need to think about, and that's what I did for the past week, is think about the people, the environments that you want to be in that align with your values, align with who you are at your core. And if you don't know who you are at your core, and you're not going to be able to be selective of who you let in and the environments you decide to play in, the playgrounds that you decide to play in. If you don't know who you are at your core, stripping down all the material things, you won't be able to align yourself with people that share those same core values and say yes to the environments that you want to spend your time in. So I highly suggest taking a trip a year alone, not with a girlfriend, not with your partner, not with friends, not with family, not with your kids, alone. It could be a staycation. It could be a vacation. I say longer than a couple days. But it really, allows you to see how far you've grown personally and professionally. I also thought about my professional growth. It's been quite stupendous. It's been amazing. But I will say that the professional growth was a direct result of my personal growth. And I do believe they're correlated. I believe that you can have stupendous, fast growing professional growth when you heal a lot of the pain, a lot of the suffering from your past, and you do a lot of personal growth development. But I think going on a vacation and being able at the same place and sitting in the same spots and drinking the same margaritas, you'll really be able to see how far you've come. It's amazing. And that's what I really spent last week doing, is doing a lot of introspection, spending a lot of time myself. I mean, I talk to people, but being grateful for all the blessings in my life and my health and all the blessings that are coming every single day this week, last week, and in the future. And the thing about me is, regardless of how wealthy I am, how much famous I am, how whatever the amazing things that are happening in my life, I will always maintain who I am. And I hope that everyone else will do the same. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that session. I will put some clips up. Please follow me on my YouTube channel. My goal is to do this 9 a.m. Central every day, Monday through Friday. If not, if I'm traveling, it will be randomly, but these will be recorded. Video podcast, audio podcast will come. I'm hoping to do more speaking engagements publicly, on stage, and more podcasts as guest speaker. Anyway, guys, let's do this rapid fire. I do this rapid fire Q&A at the end of my podcast, and hopefully when I start having guests, we have yet to invite our first guest. I will be posing these questions to the guests of choice. Okay, but right now I'm going to be answering it. Is it possible or impossible to live in the present moment? I had this question before. I talked about this before in another podcast. Here's the thing. I spent a lot of time sulking and healing from my past over the past several years. Why did this happen to me? I'm such a good person. This shouldn't have happened to me. I'm so angry at these people, not just person, for hurting me, lying to me, cheating on me, whatever it is. Personally and professionally, not just personally. Okay? Dwelling on the hurt for a long time, crying, angry. I know now that I had to go through that journey to get all those feelings out of my body. And I look at the past not as a punishment from the universe or God or whoever, not as a punishment. I look at it as a lesson. And I actually look at it as a blessing because it's steering me in the right direction. What I learned from what happened to me are lessons, multiple lessons, so that I can make good choices for me in my future. I did a lot of introspection on that very subject last week. Now, when you think about the future, and a lot of us, including myself, because I'm an overachiever and I'm always looking for the next thing, and this is something I'm working on, is we can't, if we're always focused on the future, we're not appreciating what's happening today. And the other thing is, and this is me, I always have like fear of the future. Like, how am I going to support my kids? What's my future looking like? Like, I need to be responsible. And I think this has a lot to do with childhood because I was raised in a very tough love environment about being responsible. You need to be independent. You need to be responsible for yourself. You can't rely on someone else to take care of you. You need to do it for yourself. And so I get in this state of panic. What if this doesn't happen? What if this doesn't happen? What if I don't get this? What if I don't get that? And it's a state of fear. It's about the future. So the future could be really full of fear and not knowing the future. And I think that has a lot to do with someone like myself. And there's a lot of us who want to be responsible because we were raised to be responsible. And what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next trophy? What's the next big check? What's the next accolade? When am I going to get in another article? When am I going to be put on a pedestal and praised and for my achievements? This is people like me, and there's a lot of people in the world that want that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that, but I think we need to be more present and appreciative and grateful for every single day that we have and all the blessings, like these flowers, which smell amazing. And I'm grateful that I could buy them and that they're here and they fill me with joy. Or my health, my beauty, I'm lucky. We're lucky. I have my health. I have my beauty. I'm aging gracefully, probably more younger than I have ever looked. I mean, how is that possible? It's a gift. It's a gift. So I think we just need to be more present. What was the question? Is it possible or impossible to live in the present moment? You know what? It takes a lot of work. I think it takes a lot of work, and it's not easy. It hasn't been easy for me, but I'm in a good place right now. I'm grateful for everything that comes in. And anytime, and when things happen for me, I am super grateful. I will always be grateful. I will, even when you always have to make sure you stay present. What meal do you prepare best? I mean, my grandmother's spaghetti sauce. I need to do that. Actually, probably should do that, like maybe this weekend. I may do that. It's very therapeutic. She makes homemade pasta. She's here in this room. What meal do you prepare? Homemade pasta with all different meat sauces. Unbelievable. Literally, it's the best sauce ever. I love my grandmother. She's amazing. When she died, no one wanted to do her eulogy because it was very upsetting. And I stepped up to the plate and I did it. And the title of the eulogy, and I have it, still have it, was called "The Secret is in the Sauce." And that's an analogy for this. People always talked about her sauce as the best sauce in the world. Literally, like better than any restaurant. I mean, it is. It's like a drug. I could literally have a spoon, a ladle, and I don't even need the pasta part. I just wanted to drink up the sauce. It was just amazing. It took her all day to make. Thankfully, I know how to make this sauce. But the analogy was this. People couldn't wait to get into the kitchen and sit. I was sitting at the kids' table until I was like 25. But people couldn't wait to get into the kitchen and sitting at the dining the table. It wasn't in anything fancy. It was my mom grew up poor and they stayed in the same house forever. So it was a very tiny kitchen but people would jam into the table. It didn't matter how fancy it was. People were together. That was what was important. So the eulogy that I did was called "The Secret is in the Sauce." And the secret is this. The sauce was what drew family together. And it was more important, I'm going to start crying. It was more important that the family's together than anything else. She was the core. Her sauce was what drew family together and what everyone talked about. Even if there was differences, even if it was a gift. It was a gift. So I will always remember that and always be grateful for that. And it's just, again, you leave this earth. She left this earth with the memory of her sauce. And by the way, for the funeral, I created it was like a beautiful picture of her. She was gorgeous. 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 I'm lucky I have great genes, both sides. And grandmother was beautiful. And so her picture when she was 18 of her was like a black and white picture. She looks like a Hollywood movie star. And then on the back was her sauce recipe. And I punched a hole and I forgot where I got these little wooden sauce spoons, like Italian, small. And I attached it with a bow, a beautiful light blue bow because she had blue eyes. And when people were entering or exiting the funeral, everybody got to take home her sauce recipe. I should have patented that or trademarked it or what is it? But I gave it away. So people have the recipe. I still have it. I love that story. What commonly held societal belief do you think we're most wrong about? What commonly held societal belief do you think we're most wrong about? Commonly held societal belief we're most wrong about? I mean, this goes back to the fame and fortune thing. People are so I think people lose sight of their core values, who they are at their core, when they get so caught up in fame and fortune. I think it's our demise. It's a society demise. I'm not saying you shouldn't achieve things. I'm saying, how can you still maintain your core values without getting swayed by greed? Just leave that one right there. What would the perfect man be like? This is a great question. I think he's someone who's humble. First of all, definitely someone who wants to be successful, who is successful, who not wants to be, but is, and has dreams. Because someone who's smart, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a Harvard degree, but someone who's really smart and driven, has a really good work ethic, but somebody who's humble, who doesn't let ego get it to their ego and pride get in the way. Somebody who's grounded, who is secure in who they are. It can really be vulnerable publicly, privately, is confident in their emotions and knows how to manage their emotions, not repress them. Someone who knows how to take care of themselves, their health, and makes health a priority, mental, physical, emotional health. Somebody who's caring about, if in my life, my kids, that my kids are a priority for them. Or somebody, even if it's not a romantic partner, but a regular man, like a business, someone who's kind, someone who looks out for my interests, or women who support women, and not just because it's a popular thing and a fad, but really they want to see women succeed, and they believe in the value of women and females, and that they are powerhouses. Someone who's, I think I said this, kind, thoughtful, generous. Responsible. Shows their intentions through actions and not just words. Both is nice, but actions speak louder than words. It's a nice question. Okay. All right. What could be done to make a school a better place? Oh, let me just say, I think schools need to teach values. I think that's gone. I think with the public schools, don't even get me started on public schools, but that's one of the reasons why I was living in the city, and I loved living in the city when I was married, and why we chose to move to the suburbs, because of the school system. I might get thrown under the bus, but the Chicago public school system, the public schools, a lot of work needs to happen. And we left because we knew they were bad. And if we moved to the affluent suburbs in the North Shore of Chicago, our kids are going to have a better education. And we went the public school route. What could be done to make school a better place? One of the things I will say about the school districts that we moved to, which has been a saving grace for us, guys, saving grace. And the thing is, when you have kids, you don't know what's going to happen to your kids. I'm not saying bad things. I'm saying you don't know what kind of support they're going to need academically. And half the time, if you're in a private school, it's a different story, because hopefully you have those amenities and you're paying for that. But if you're in a public school, you don't know if your kid's going to have a learning disability, but by they get to third grade, or you don't know if they're going to have social and emotional issues. You don't know if they're going to be bullied. Like, you don't know. So to have those resources in your fingertips is highly valuable as a parent. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, and if you, as a parent, if that's not available to you for your kid, you're going to find a way to get it done. Like, you're going to find a way to give your kid what they need. And thankfully for us, We put our children in a great public school that that had the amenities they needed when the time was right. And again, you can't predict the future. So what could be done to make a school a better place? I mean, I think schools need to teach social and emotional development because some of these kids don't have this. Like, how do you deal with bullying? How do you deal with feelings? How do you deal with like depression? How do you deal with I mean, this is critical for kids, little kids. Because I said this before in another podcast, I'll say it again. Our kids aren't telling us. Our kids think about when you were a kid. You had emotional feelings. Half the time, maybe you didn't feel comfortable telling an adult or tell either a teacher or your parent, or maybe your parent wasn't there, or maybe they were there, but they weren't emotionally open to like letting you share your emotions. And if you did, maybe that was looked upon in a negative way or repressed. So that's why I think kids need to have therapists. But like having a social worker, like how do you make schools more comfortable where kids have the tools to understand that these feelings, these thoughts? I mean, think about what happened with COVID. We know there's a lot of mental health with kids. And by the way, if you guys have seen The Social Dilemma, the documentary, I highly advise you watch that documentary. I watched it with my kids, I think during COVID. Was it during COVID? No, it was before COVID. I had my kids watch it. I mean, they're middle school age kids at the time. It's eye-opening. So what social media is doing to our children, especially girls on Instagram, when they're looking at all these girls or women that are like with filters tweaking their bodies. I mean, half the time when you're looking at these photos and you think that that's a real boobs or real butt or real body, curves, these girls are getting depressed because I don't look like that, or I'm going to change my body, or I'm going to. It's really, really bad. That's why I think there needs to be like an auditing or disclosure on social media of what's real and what's not real. Anyway, social and emotional development needs to be part of every single school and at all ages for all kids. Okay. Is it good to save or spend money? I mean, I think having a pool of money and sitting down either with an advisor, a financial advisor, you can do it yourself, but I think it's always good to have somebody else. And really saying, okay, here's the money I have, here's the money that's coming in, what percent is going to go into, for IRA, mutual funds, conservative investments, what percent is going to go into my retirement, which, could be the same, but separate pool, and where are we going to invest that so it grows? What percent is going to go into my kids' colleges or even my kids' future, like a trust fund or something. And then, real estate, venture capital, private equity. I mean, it's really looking at what the pool of money that you have and then allocating it. And then there's the spending money. I want to have spending money. Yeah. I think you have to set up a budget. Budgets are always good. If you have a lot of money or a little money. Okay, this is the last one. This is girl power. And then I have a call with the founder. It's so great to be back at True North, and I'm excited to keep doing this every single day. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central. I'm gonna try to do this. So you can count on me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can hear some great advice and tactical and strategic advice on pursuing your purpose and overcoming adversity. Happy to share my tactics and strategies. Okay, this is Girl Power. Amy Mullins. Never heard of her. See? This is why I need to do my Girl Power coloring book. I will. It's part of on my to-do list. Okay, cool beans. See? Hey, let's just say, before I read this, I've told my son this, I told my daughter this, you can be more than one thing. You don't have to be one thing, okay? Amy Mullins, athlete, model, actor, bilateral below-the-knee amputee. Here's her quote. I've had journalists ask me, what do we call you? Is it handicapped? Are you disabled? Physically challenged? I said, well, hopefully you could just call me Amy. Listen, guys, don't let people define you by your past, your present, or your future, or what you look like. I've had people comment to me about bikini pictures I've posted myself in a bikini on vacation, saying like, commenting about my body, commenting about, or people going to take you seriously because you're in a bikini? I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm on vacation. I mean, I'm in a bikini. Why would they not take me seriously? Well, how can you, someone said this to me, I don't know, 10 years ago. How can you be Latina from preppy New England, married to a Jewish guy, living in the North Shore of Chicago? I'm like, I don't know. This is who I am. There's no way you could be. How can you be Latin? You don't have an accent. How can you be Latin? You don't have dark skin. Wait, hold on. How can you be Latin and you're, went to the #1 business school, the top 3 college? Like, you're not from like, the hills in Mexico or what? People want to label you. People want to label you. They want to put you in a box. You can be whatever you want. And the people who make the comments, it's their issue, not yours. If someone's going to make a comment about you and, posting a selfie, posting a beautiful photo of your hard-earned physical body, getting an award for whatever it is, it's their issue. So you shouldn't change because of their comments. You should be so confident in who you are that nothing can touch you. Nothing that anyone can say can touch you. Nothing that anyone can do can touch you. You're just untouchable. Is it more important to be friendly, funny, or kind when making a new friend? Oh, I think humor is great. You know what I was thinking about? I'm going to be saying, I'm going to start crying because I thought about this over my vacation. I thought about a guy that I dated several years ago, and I kind of miss him, but I know he's not right for me. But the one thing I miss, I'm going to start crying, is his humor. He always made me laugh. The last time I really laughed a lot was with him. And I miss that. And I almost going to start crying about it. And I think it had a lot to do with the state that I was in. I was in a very free, like open heart. My heart was wide open. Easy access to my heart. So I was, and the humor, him being funny, was a really good way for me and him to like get to know each other through humor. And like, making fun of people, making fun of ourselves. And he's a really good person deep down inside. It's just not the right match for me. But I miss that. I thought about that every day, but several days. I miss that, and I want that back in my life, is humor. I just feel like meeting new people. I like sarcasm. I think it's great. I just can't wait to laugh again. Anyway, I feel like humor. What is more important, to be friendly, funny, or kind when making a new friend? I mean, I say funny. I think being kind is good. That comes after. But being funny is great. It's a great way to break the ice with anyone and to find common ground. It actually says a lot about the other person if they can get your jokes and they share a similar bond with your humor. It opens a lot of doors. It just breaks through the ice a lot, is humor. Anyway, guys. Oh, the other thing about humor, for all you women out there that are dealing with like mansplaining and someone taking your idea. I thought this came up the other day. Humor is the best way to tackle it. Somebody said to me, I'll say this. A friend of mine, whatever, was commenting about the bikinis things. And I said, you know what, I said, I'm really uncomfortable with what you're saying. And he's a friend of mine. Like, can you stop saying these things? Because it's making me really uncomfortable. Let's leave my beautiful, gorgeous body out of our conversations. It's humor. And he's like, I like the way you put that. I will respect your wishes. That's how you handle it, guys. That's how you handle it. Anyway, I'm happy to be back. I hope this was helpful. Can't wait for tomorrow. It's my favorite thing to do. Later, guys.